Hi, I'm Gary White for Channel 6 Central Kentucky Television. I'm here with Luke Freese at the Nelson County Extension Office. And Luke is the Extension Agent for Family and Consumer Sciences, right?
You got it. Yep, FCS. We like to use acronyms around here, so we'll try to get people used to those. But yes, Family Consumer Sciences. So.
And for 2019, Luke and I are going to cook through the calendar. Let's take a look at that calendar.
Here you go. I'll give that to you. We'll start in January, so there you are.
Okay.
This is actually a calendar that's produced by SNAP and Kentucky FNEP. So it's a nutrition calendar, nutrition-based calendar, and it's got lots of good tips in there. There'll be obviously 12 recipes that we'll try to cook through. We'll start with January, which is a citrus kale salad, which we'll do today. It's got, as you can see in there, you probably can't see on the camera, but it's got how to make it a meal. So you might think of a salad, not quite as a meal, but something that you eat before your meal. So we're going to try to make it a meal today as well. It's got garden tips. It's got where you can find them online, and then ways to be active. So good way to start out your new year is everybody's got those health goals and exercise and eating right. Doesn't always work, but we're going to try to keep you on it this year.
And these calendars are available at the Extension Office. So you can go to the Nelson County Extension Office, or if you're in Washington or Marion County, you can go to one of the Extension offices there as well and pick up the calendar. They're free, right?
They are free.
Yep, and they do have recipes, as I said, for each of the months. So we'll get a chance to go through all of them. But for today, we're going to do this salad. But as you said, making it a meal, you actually have something else you're going to show us, right?
Absolutely. So it says on here the tip that it gives you to make it a meal is to use a baked fish. Obviously, you could use whatever fish you want. Today, we're going to use cod. If you're not familiar with cod, it's the fish that you usually get at your fast food restaurants that are seafood restaurants. It's generally a fried cod.
Right.
So it's a flaky white fish. It's kind of fatty. It's got a little bit of fat in it, but it's good fat for the most part, as long as it's not completely breaded and fried and deep fried. But
we're going to fast food restaurant.
As you see, yeah, right. And I've got some butter on top, so that's going to make it real nice and healthy. A little bit of fat goes a little bit of a way for you. So we need some fat in our diet. We've got this salad, and it'll be pretty healthy. It's vegetables and fruit for the most part. So we're going to throw a little bit of fats. This fish is obviously going to give us a little bit of protein, and it's going to kind of supplement that salad a little bit. It also says to use a glass of skim or low-fat milk with your meal. So fish, salad, and a glass of milk. Would get all your food groups in there except for your grains. So if you wanted to add a dinner roll or something like that to it, you could as well. So to get started, we're going to go ahead and put this fish in the oven. What I've done so far is put some butter on top. I kind of greased the baking dish on the bottom before I put the fish in. There's a couple squares of butter on top. I peppered it already, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put just some minced garlic kind of throughout.
It's good flavor.
Yeah, and if you don't like garlic, obviously you don't have to put it in there. One thing about cooking I like is that as long as you're not baking, it's not really a science. It's kind of an art, so you can make it what you want. If you don't like garlic, don't put it in there. If you don't like as much garlic, you don't have to put as much as I did in there. So it's kind of a taste thing. And as you cook, and if you're a cook or you like to cook, you'll learn kind of how to guesstimate what a fourth of a teaspoon is, or that kind of thing, and you kind of know what you like. So the other thing I'm going to put on there before we bake it is a little paprika.
Okay.
And that'll give it some color.
Very good.
And so there we go. And I'm just going to throw that in the oven.
Now I want to, this part of the recipe, when you come and get your calendar, you won't find this part. So just tell us again, it's cod with some butter on top, and then the garlic and the paprika.
So far, yes. And we'll garnish it once it gets out of the oven.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw it in there. I've already preheated the oven to 400 degrees.
400.
I'm going to set the timer for about 12 minutes and check on it. But during that 12 minutes, we'll have our salad portion. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that in here.
So you can kind of do them both at the same time, which is nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we'll see if we can get this thing to work here.
And when you're baking or cooking in the stove, I guess, do you want to make sure it gets to the 400 before you put you put it in?
Generally speaking, that's kind of the guide on a recipe. Yes.
Right. Okay.
It'll on the recipe. If you find a recipe for baked cod, it's going to tell you to preheat the oven to whatever temperature. I picked 400 a day. Like I said, this isn't a standard recipe. It's just kind of what I'm trying out. So it's okay to try things when you're cooking. Sometimes it's you might fail, but you'll learn, and the next time it'll taste very nice. So I'm going to have you help me today, Gary, if you don't mind. I've kind of prepared things here. I've chopped some of the oranges, I've chopped some of the onions, and I've torn some of that kale up. Pre-measured a few things, but there are some interactive things you can do. And if you're at home and you're watching, you can do these things with, if you have grandchildren or children, they can help you with these things. They might kind of like it. The first thing we're going to do is prepare our dressing. And I'm going to ask if I can have that calendar back so I can make sure that I follow the recipe.
Absolutely. And why don't we read off a little bit what's going into this recipe for us?
Yeah, okay, perfect. So we're going to use 1 bunch of kale, which I've got half the bunch already torn off the stalk. So you're not going to use the stalk for this particular recipe or this salad. You're just going to use that leaf. So we'll tear the rest of it here in just a second. We're going to use 1/4 cup of orange juice, which we have pre-measured right here. We've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil, which we'll measure here in a second. Half a teaspoon of sugar. We've got some garlic, some salt, some pepper. We're going to add some plain Greek yogurt to make that dressing creamy. So if you're lactose intolerant, maybe you don't want a cream-based dressing. Maybe you stick with the oil. It'll change the flavor a little bit, but obviously you don't want to do that if you are lactose intolerant. We have 2 oranges that we're going to peel, seed, and cut into chunks. So we're going to make sure that orange that we got sitting on the table, we're going to peel the rest of it, seed it, and go ahead and cut it into chunks.
And you even have an orange knife to go with the orange.
Hey, look at that. That wasn't on purpose, but we'll pretend that it was. And we're going to do 1 small red onion, and we're just going to slice that. So we've got some onion slices already there so we can see the consistency we want. And then we're going to add 1/2 cup of sunflower seeds at the end.
Okay.
So the first instruction that we've got is to tear the leaves off the kale stalk and set aside in a large bowl. So as you see, we've got half of them here. Gary, if you want to jump in, and what we're going to try to do is go ahead, grab one of these kale pieces.
I did wash my hands beforehand.
Yes, I did as well. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of use our fingers to tear that off the stalk part, kind of that.
Okay.
That hard part there, we don't want that in our salad.
Now, is the stalk edible?
It is, and a lot of times I like to leave the stalk in there because it does have nutritional value. Kale is a good source. We always hear kale referenced as a superfood.
Yeah, I like
we
kale.
see that a lot in groceries. That's because it's high in vitamin A. Any leafy green like this is going to be high in vitamin A and E, and that's good for your hair and your skin and your nails and all that kind of thing. It also has a lot of folate.
It's not doing much for my hair.
We'll see. You don't know. It also has folate, which is an essential piece for women who are pregnant. If you're pregnant, folate is something that you need for your baby's development, so something to keep in mind. But looks like we've almost got that kale all torn up. I've got a trash can next to us over here. It's always good to keep a trash can handy just in case when you're measuring and you go overflow, you don't want it to go into your recipe. So in just a second.
And I can tell that was washed already too.
Yes, it was washed,
and
I'll
put it this way.
I actually put it on a paper towel to dry. You want to make sure those leaves are somewhat dry. It's got a little bit of moisture, I think, just because I was running a little late today. But for the most part, it's dried, it's washed. And if you need brushes or peelers, we have those here at the office to wash your vegetables, scrub your vegetables if you have potatoes or something like that. We have all kinds of resources for you here at the Extension Office. We want you to use us as a resource, and we have a lot of those, so we'd like to share them with you.
Absolutely.
All right, the next thing that we're going to do after we've got our leaves off the stalk, we're going to try to make our dressing here. So we've got our orange juice already measured, and it says to use a small jar because what we're going to do is kind of shake all these ingredients together and try to get them mixed well. Right. You could stir them, but you'd probably have lumps of your yogurt in there, and you don't want that. Yep. You want to make sure it's all mixed together. Okay. So we're going to go ahead, if you want to, you can pour that orange juice in our shaker.
Okay. And that was a cup?
That was a fourth of a cup of orange
Fourth of a
juice.
cup. Okay.
We're going to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. As you can see, Gary used a liquid measuring cup. Anytime you're using a liquid ingredient, you want to use a liquid measuring cup. If you have a dry ingredient like salt, sugar, flour, you can use a dry measuring cup. And they're a little bit different, so it's important that you kind of
really?
get that right. Yeah. All right, the next thing we're going to add is our olive oil. So we're going to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and I'll just do that if that's all right with
Yep.
you. 1. And a lot of time when you're doing this, you probably want to do it over a trash can so you don't pour more than you need in there. But for time's sake, we'll just kind of roll with it
Mixed in
today. So we've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We also need our sugar, so we're going to do half a teaspoon of sugar. So here's our sugar right here.
Okay.
And let's see if we can find half a teaspoon.
And make sure it's a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, right?
Right.
'Cause they're quite different.
And you could have a pretty sweet salad there. You can use a flat edge like a knife to go ahead and scrape that off the top to make sure you get the exact measurement. Today I'm just going to go ahead and do my best with that. It's not going to make a whole lot of difference.
Okay.
Sugar, not salt. Then we're going to do a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I might actually try to measure this one over the trash can, Gary,
Okay.
if that's all right with you.
Absolutely.
All right.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay.
And then we're going to do another 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. So you can see we're going kind of down.
Put that one over there too.
Yes, please. Sorry. There's no real good location for that trash can, is there? All right.
There we go.
Perfect.
So we do get our salt and sugar in there.
Salt and
Just make
sugar.
sure you do the right amount
That's right.
of each of them.
Correct. And don't get them confused because they look very similar if you have them in a jar like that.
Absolutely.
You don't want to get those mixed up because you don't want to put double the salt and less sugar. All right, and then we're just going to put a little pepper in there to taste. So I'm just going to kind of drop a little in there.
Mhm.
And then we'll put the lid on.
Okay.
You can seal it tight. And you're just going to go ahead and give that a shake. So make sure it's on there.
Yeah.
And shake that up.
Okay.
So again, if you're lactose intolerant, maybe this is the last step of your dressing because you'll have an oil-based dressing instead of adding the Greek yogurt to it. We are going to add today the tablespoon of plain Greek yogurt.
Okay.
So we will use a different tablespoon here. And sometimes it's kind of hard to get it all out of these, but we're going to just kind of do our best there.
Okay.
All right.
Let me shake again.
And again, that's plain Greek low-fat yogurt. So you don't want to use a vanilla yogurt or a blueberry yogurt or that kind of thing. So be careful, be on the lookout for that. There are small varieties of Greek yogurt. A lot of times people don't like a plain Greek yogurt to just eat. So buying a big tub of it to make a little bit of dressing doesn't make sense. So look for that little bitty tub of Greek yogurt.
And as Luke mentioned, if you don't already have these measuring cups, you can see they're UK.
Yes.
They have the extension UK on there, and they are very nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the
And they've
different
got
options you
everything,
have.
everything you need.
So stop by and pick up one of them up if you don't already have something.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So again, if you have a grandkid or a child and they want to help in the kitchen, this is perfect as long as you got something that's sealed
Right.
that's not going to open up on them. But our dressing is now finished. So we're going to go ahead and pour our dressing over our kale once we finish slicing our oranges and our onions. So that's our
Okay.
next step. If you want to do the orange, or do you
Okay.
want, you pick which one you
Oh,
want
I
to
don't
do.
care.
You don't
Whichever's
care.
easier.
Since you're on that end, we'll let you do the onion.
Okay.
All right.
I'll use the green knife.
Green knife. All right. So the onion, just a quick tip, if you're not familiar with slicing and dicing, if knife skills aren't your thing, you always, Gary said before, I'm going to cut myself if you make me do this. He's not going to cut himself today. I got a really good feeling. But you want to put anything you're slicing or dicing on the flat surface. And if you're looking to kind of make a slice more like we've got here, you can make a flat surface by cutting off an edge. So I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and do that, Gary. So you're going to cut off the end piece. See, it's on the flat surface now, and you're going to go ahead and cut off that end piece, just barely.
Like this?
Mm-hmm. All the way down. And see, now he's created a flat surface that he can make this slice. So it's not moving around on him. Because a lot of times if it's on the edge, it's rolling around and then you slip, and that's when we have accidents. So now he's in good shape, and Gary, you can go ahead, you can slice it as thin as you want, thick as you want. You're in charge since you're the sous chef. In the meantime, I'll peel the rest of this orange.
And I know they say, like, you want to make sure, like, you keep your knuckles or something if you're, when you're cutting or something like that.
And I'll kind of, probably can't see a close-up of what we're doing here, but I'll kind of try to demonstrate that as best as that I can. They call it a bear claw, is what I reference it when I'm cooking with kids.
Okay.
So you're going to use your bear claw and make sure that your fingertips are out of the way. And then you want to put the tip of your knife on the cutting board if you can, and then come straight down. And your knife's not moving. The only thing that's moving is the object that you're cutting.
Yes.
So. And I'm going to cut these oranges again on the flat side if I can.
Okay.
And you've got your onion.
Now, do I cut them again?
You can if you want. It's up to you. People say that we eat with our eyes first. So however you think it's aesthetically pleasing, or if you like it to a taste, maybe you don't like an onion-heavy salad, it's kind of up to you. That's what I like about being the cook, is that you can make it kind of what you want. You can be a little selfish whenever you're the one making the dish. So.
But now with baking, you mentioned you have to be more specific, right? Because that's kind of like chemistry.
It is. Baking's more of a science. I will tell you, I'm not a baker. I like to cook. I like to find things in the fridge and just kind of see what I can make with it. But I'm not a baker. I'm not a cookie maker or bread maker. Now, I do like it sometimes if I have a lot of time, but I don't know.
I like to eat cookies and bread.
The eating part is the best part, right?
I'm a baker-eater.
And that's what we... seems like we have a lot of those things during the holidays too.
Exactly.
I know there are several of our clients bring in cookies and chocolates all the time. So don't be discouraged if you're a baker. Bring in some goods for us. We always enjoy those.
Now that's why I think they have this salad. Is that ready?
Yes. So our fish should be ready.
They had the salad in January because you've been eating all the other bad stuff throughout the holidays.
I was trying to think of that. I was like, well, usually they try to be pretty specific with their recipes and making sure that they're in season. And I thought, well, oranges, you can't really find those around here. But,
exactly.
But maybe you're right. Maybe it's hey, we've been eating too many cookies and chocolate.
You need a little healthy option.
You need a little something to change things up. All right. So we've got our fish out of the oven here. If I was cooking this for a group or at home, or if somebody was going to for sure eat it, I would want to make sure that temperature reaches about 140 degrees. And you can get one of those meat thermometers here at the office. We're all about food safety, food security, so any way we can make you feel a little bit better, we want to do that. We also have magnets that tell you different measurements, so if you're trying to substitute for things. And we have those meat thermometer magnets, so it tells you exactly how high the temperature needs to get for each product. So 140 is the recommendation from the USDA for fish. So we would want to make sure that we reach that. What we've got next is just kind of a garnish, if you will. Now I would suggest using, if you can, a fresh lemon. And just putting it on the side of the plate and letting whoever the consumer is go ahead and squeeze that over the top of their fish if they like it. Today I've just got lemon juice, the variety in the jar or the whatever it is bottle. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour about 2 tablespoons over the top. Probably didn't quite get there. And then if you have fresh parsley is a great garnish. It looks nice on a plate. Like I said, we eat with our eyes first. So
Right.
if you have a dish that looks nice, people are more likely to try it or eat it. So we're going to put just some dried parsley over the top today because I didn't have any fresh. And it still adds a little bit of green to it, but like I said, if you have fresh parsley, it really makes it kind of pop.
Now, there's a difference between dried and fresh when it comes to like herbs and stuff, right? Is it more concentrated if it's dried?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I know that some probably are. They just have a little bit, it's a different flavor, different consistency.
Okay.
And when you get dried herbs, maybe you wouldn't use as much because there's more in there than you actually think there is, right? Because
Gotcha.
if you buy a bunch of parsley, it's probably going to be similar to that amount, only it's fresh. So
yeah.
it's just going to taste a little different. All right. So we are going to finish our salad, and then we're going to try to plate this nicely and just kind of see how it looks, see if it's appealing, see if you would eat it, see if you would eat it, Gary.
Actually.
And we'll go from there. So we've got our salad here. It says to go ahead and put the dressing in without the onions and the oranges first.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and open this
Put
up.
over here for you. Go over.
I tried to think of all the things we might need. So I've got some tongs there.
So as you can see, it's going to be plenty of dressing
Oh yeah.
as it's drizzling all over there. It's
All
very-
right. And Gary, you want to do the honors there and just kind of mix it around?
Sure.
In the meantime, I'm going to put our fish on the plate.
And the idea is just to try to coat it, right? Okay.
Right. It's not going to be swimming in dressing, and the dressing should be fairly light.
Mm-hmm. It's a
not gonna
healthier
be-
option than going out and buying some kind of
Right. And
grain-based.
that's the neat thing about this calendar too, and most recipes that we have here at the office, they're going to tell you your price per recipe or per serving. So this one we've got per recipe it's $2.96, and it makes 4 servings of the salad, and that's going to be 74 cents per serving.
Oh wow,
So
that's great.
if you compare that to going out to eat, you're saving a little bit of money, ideally, and then if you have more than what you can use, you can save it, maybe eat it for lunch the next day. You'll have plenty of leftovers, that kind of thing.
How's that?
Perfect. I think it looks good.
Now, if somebody doesn't particularly like kale, 'cause kale's a thicker.
Yeah,
Green
it's
or whatever. I
different
like it.
consistency. Yeah,
Could they use like a romaine maybe?
I would say you could probably use whatever evergreen you prefer.
I
Kale's
forgot
going to
the
give you a
one.
little bit more bitter of a taste. So the taste profile is going to change if you use like an iceberg or a romaine or something like that.
Okay.
I would think that spinach would be a good option.
Oh,
If
yeah,
you like
spinach would be good.
spinach instead of kale,
You like
it's a good
Popeye.
source of iron. Yeah, you have huge, unusually large forearms.
Exactly.
All right, so now we're just going to add the rest of the ingredients.
Okay.
I'm not do you like onion a whole lot? Because we got a pretty large
a lot of
onion there.
onion.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes when you're looking at it does say in the recipe 1 small red onion. I got the smallest one I could find at the grocery store. Still looks like a lot of onion to me.
Yeah.
So if you're looking at your ingredients, again, this is the beautiful part about cooking yourself. You can decide to put more or less of whatever you like
Yeah.
or prefer.
And
So-
since you have it in here, you could leave it on the side and let the other people add if they
That's
wanted
exactly right. Exactly right. So for the purpose of trying to make it look like this picture, we're going to go ahead and throw some in there to try to get all those colors and make it look nice. So go ahead. I'll put some in there. I'm just going to kind of maybe half or not even that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of onion.
to. Don't want to toss that in there.
Yeah. And as you're kind of mixing it together, I'll put the
Oops.
sunflower seeds
Dropping
over the
all
top.
over the place.
It's all good. We've washed our countertops. That seems like a lot of sunflower seeds too.
I like sunflower seeds though.
But we'll go ahead. Sunflower seeds and nuts are a great source of iron. I'm going to leave some of them out. It looks like a lot of sunflower seeds. But they're also fatty, so you don't want to eat a whole lot in one sitting. A lot of times people get shelled nuts because it takes longer to eat them You know what I'm saying? If I have a whole lot of sunflower seeds like this is almost like a bag of those little sunflower seeds you could get at a gas station. It would take me 2 seconds to eat this, and it would take me a lot longer to eat the ones in the shell. So if you need to if you need to be a little better about what you're eating, maybe you can. I'll
do that with almonds. I'll get a handful of almonds, and I'll get another handful of almonds. I'm like, oh, I probably should have stopped that long.
Right.
But they're good.
They are good. They are good. And they're generally healthy as long as you're limiting yourself. Everything in moderation.
Here?
Yep, go ahead. And again, however many you think, up to you. I like oranges. So go for it if you'd like. Yeah, put them all in there. And then kind of mix that around. It's got, as you probably, I don't know if you can see the color or not. It's got a nice color. It's got some purple, some oranges, some greens. The fish is going to give us a little bit of red color. It's always good to look at your plate and see if you've got all the colors of the rainbow, kind of, for lack of a better term. That usually means that you're getting a pretty well-balanced meal.
Absolutely.
So, look good?
Cool. Looks good to me.
We're going to go ahead and put that on the plate just so we can share it with the viewers here. And I'll try, I'm reaching over you, sorry. So if you just want to kind of dish some of that out right next to the fish. And again, if we had some parsley or lemon wedge that we could put next to our fish, that would look nice as well.
Put that orange up there.
There
so
you
can
go.
See that color. There
Perfect.
you go. And I'll put them over here. That looks nice with the different colors.
Looks very nice. You got that fish that kind of has that white.
Yeah, there we go.
Beautiful.
This one out there.
Man.
Good job. And it's healthy.
Yeah, yeah. So put a glass of milk with it. Again, you have your dairy. If you like cheese, you could put just a couple slices of cheese on there with crackers, and you could get some grains. You can kind of make it what you want it, but how you want it. But I think this is, we'll see how it tastes. I haven't tasted it yet, but it looks very nice. Again, we eat with our eyes, so.
You want to try a bite?
Do you want to? It's up to you. I don't know. This is my first show, so.
Here, well, you try a bite.
I kind of wanted the viewers to concentrate on your face, your reaction. What do you think?
It's very good.
It is good. It's very light.
I like it.
So you don't get overwhelming from the dressing, really.
And I love the sesame seeds too.
They are good.
What are
the sunflower seeds?
Sunflower seeds, yeah. They're good. And the orange is really good too.
I ate a piece of the fish. Don't tell anyone.
How is it?
It is good. It's very good.
It tastes 140.
Yeah, right. I think that's for sure 140.
Yeah, very good.
So you can also substitute pumpkin seeds if you don't like sunflower seeds. I love sunflower seeds, so I went sunflower seeds instead of
absolutely.
That's glad I made that decision.
Good job. Was that what was in the recipe?
Yeah. So it says you can do sunflower or pumpkin seeds, or you can do both. I thought pumpkin seeds would get a little chewy. And I guess if they're roasted, then maybe that's a different thing. But I like sunflower seeds, so I went with that.
Yeah. Well, it's very good. And can I have the calendar back?
Absolutely.
May I have the calendar back, please? Okay. And again, this is the January recipe for the citrus kale salad. You can get it. You can find the calendars at any of the extension offices here in Nelson County, Marion County, Washington County. Pick one up. It's free. And then you can follow along with us as we make them throughout the year with the different recipes that are in here. And the fish, if you're interested in that too, email us and we'll get Luke here to write it down for us.
Absolutely. And if you ever have any questions, you can call into our office. Our phone number here is 502-348-9204. You can email me. It's just my name, luke.freese@uky.edu. My last name is spelled like fries, if you can remember that. Or the easiest way, I think, is to find us on Facebook. You can follow us. We'll post these recipes once Gary has the link, or as you're watching, we'll try to post the link to our Facebook site as well.
Absolutely.
And we just hope that you, like we said, hope that you use us as a resource, because that's what we're here for.
Very good. Again, it's been Gary White with Luke Freese here at the Nelson County Extension Office. Thank you very much.
Thank you.